Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well as can be expected right now. I wanted to tell everyone that you did a nice job on the quiz. I'm still updating Progress Book, and there are a couple of things that I still need to update for Progress Book, but I'm doing my best to keep up with it. You can take that quiz again if you need to. That's an option. I want to let you know also that we're probably going to have, including this one, three more key assignments about the economics portion of our government and economics class. And what I want us to look at today is our debt. And I got to thinking this is a key question because I was so impressed with a lot of people. One of the main questions that people had about the CARES Act, the Coronavirus Act that we talked about 2 weeks ago, was okay, the government is spending trillions of dollars, but what about the debt that we go into? And so I'm at this website, the US Debt Clock Calculator, and it's showing our $24 trillion debt as of today. And it breaks it down by citizen and the debt per taxpayer. Now, we per se, the taxpayers, don't necessarily have to repay that debt because the government finances the debt that it has. But how did we get into this debt? And we have a debt because we have what we call budget deficits. When the president signs a budget bill that Congress passes, they sign those bills knowing that we will be spending more than what we have. And so I want us to look today at taxes and the federal budget. So, with our spending, we know that we have trillions of dollars in debt, and our debt has gone up over time. For a short period under the Clinton administration, there was an agreement about balanced budget. And President Clinton worked with a Congress and a very powerful member of Congress by the name of Newt Gingrich, who demanded that we have balanced budgets. Well, all of that came to a grinding halt with 9/11 and the national emergency that was caused by 9/11. Our national debt went up because of our wars, and then our debt continued to go up under President Obama because we talked about also too the act that was passed to deal with the 2008 recession and all of the billions of dollars that were involved in that spending. And now we're going to see more increases in our national debt. One way to measure our national debt and really get a sense of the gravity of our debt is by measuring it against our gross domestic product, which, remember from last time, is the value of all goods made in our country in 1 year. So it's kind of like saying, okay, could we pay our bills given the amount of money that we are making as a country? And so our total outlays or our total government spending is much greater than our gross domestic product. Now, where does all of this money come from? It comes from us, the taxpayers. And government is supposed to serve who? Us, the taxpayers. We are the ones paying for it. And the government collects, get this, I really wanted you to look at this data, $3.3 trillion they collect from us. And we pay individual income taxes and payroll taxes in the trillions of dollars. Corporate, the government collects about $205 billion in corporate income taxes. So, this is something that kind of relates to our EverFi studies, and this is an example of an earnings statement or what people call a paycheck stub. And it shows the types of taxes that are taken out of our paychecks and where they go. And there are two main types here, okay? Our individual federal income tax and our Medicare and Social Security tax. The Federal Income Collection Act required that Medicare and Social Security taxes be collected from everyone who's working and earns who's 18 and older and earns a certain amount of money every year. And so these payroll taxes, these are what are called payroll taxes. And the federal income tax is different than our payroll taxes. It's right, it goes into separate pools. And our payroll taxes go to pay for Social Security, which is an insurance program that gives payments to our retired individuals. And just like this paycheck is showing, any people who worked and are now retired paid into Social Security. And after they retire and they're 65 or older, they're eligible to collect a percentage of what they paid into that system. They're also eligible to enroll for government-sponsored health insurance for people who are 65 or older, known as Medicare. And it's also for certain people under 65 who have disabilities. And these are what a lot of people call our social safety nets, okay? Separate from that is our personal income tax, okay? And so those are our main types of taxes, okay? Just wanted you to be aware of that because, and a lot of the news briefings that the president has been doing, and one of the proposals that he had before the CARES Act was to give taxpayers a break by cutting the payroll taxes, which is different than cutting our personal income tax. And I wanted you to know the difference between those two types of taxes, okay? So where does all this money go? And you can take a look at this chart, and it shows our spending as a country, and the amount of our highest spending is in Social Security. Our national defense is a pretty big part of the budget as well, and so we spend billions of dollars. And this budget, again, is more than what the government takes in receipts. And this is what we call a budget deficit. The debt is the overall amount of money that we have spent beyond what we can over time, and deficit spending is what happens every time a budget is passed. And every year, the president proposes a budget to Congress. Congress writes up that bill, and they duke it out to see where spending should go and then pass it, and then the president signs that bill into law. Okay, and so we are clearly spending, more than we have. But what are some potential solutions to this dilemma? And one of the most debated solutions is what people in the past have proposed as a balanced budget amendment, an amendment to the Constitution that would require the government to pass a balanced budget instead of a budget that had that, right? Like this would be a balanced budget. If we took in $3.3 trillion in taxes, in revenue meaning money from taxes, money generated from taxes, then we could keep it balanced with our spending. Well, a balanced budget amendment would require about a 26% reduction in one of these areas. Now, where are you willing to cut, right? Where can we cut taxes, right? Where can we cut spending? Where can we cut spending so that we can balance our budget? And is it worth it? Is it worth it to require a balanced budget amendment? And that's what I'm going to ask you to do in this assignment, is to analyze a little bit different arguments of pros and cons of a balanced budget and whether or not you think it would be a good idea. Okay, in our next steps and our next assignment, we'll talk about the Federal Reserve System. And then after that, we'll have one more economics assignment, and then we'll move on to other areas of our course. Okay, let me know if you have questions as usual, and we'll pick it up from there. I'm going to have this one due on Thursday.